Trudeau student benefits. Program given $900 million budget, but only $500 million earmarked for grants.
I can assure all Canadians that unlike the Leader of the Opposition, we will always stand up for good jobs right across this country, every step of the way.
Order. Hello and welcome to a special episode of the Two Shot Factor. Justin Trudeau and the We Charity Scandal. A $912 million program previously promised by Justin Trudeau as aid for COVID-19 and post-secondary students. Agreements between we and the federal government set aside only $500 million for student grants.
Maybe we should say a villa load of cash. That's ridiculous, and no one believes them.
I'm not a drug user.
So I don't give a fuck about what anybody's saying right now.
Although the Canada Student Service Program was allocated a $900 million budget, officials had drawn up a plan with the We Charity Foundation to spend only a portion of that amount.
Thursday, Trudeau and Chief of Staff Katie Telford appears before the Finance Committee.
Order.
Federal Ethics Commissioner Mario Dion said he'll be investigating Trudeau under subsection 6.1. Can we get a clip of what that means?
Amending the status of children whose mother lost status due to marrying a non-Indian man.
Of the Conflict of Interest and Ethics Act, which prohibits public office holders from making decisions that further their own private interests or the interests of others. Trudeau is also being investigated under Section 7 and 21 of the Act.
Does the Prime Minister have any last-minute confessions he feels he needs to make before testifying at the Finance Committee?
Trudeau initially defended the partnership, saying that We was the only group with a nationwide network capable of operating a program on this scale for young people.
Trudeau chose to give this contract, his political friends, $900 million worth of taxpayers' money during a global pandemic. Morneau chose to accept $41,000 worth of illegal travel expenses, just like he chose to only pay it back the day he was forced to testify.
First of all, thank you for the question. Obviously, yes, during a time of pandemic, things are accelerated. And as I said from the beginning, and as I've said throughout this pandemic in all my press conferences, we've moved quickly to try and get help out to people as fast as we could, as flexibly as we could, and we would fix those mistakes as we went on. So there was an understanding that if we waited until everything was perfect before doing anything, far too many Canadians would suffer, and because of the health emergency, even die.
Here's some of Trudeau's biggest scandals so far. The Aga Khan scandal, which had Trudeau breaking multiple corruption laws for accepting a 2016 getaway vacation to the private island of Aga Khan.
Chaka Khan, let me rock you, Chaka Khan, Chaka Khan, Chaka Khan, Chaka Khan.
2. SNC Lavalin. He interfered with the Justice Department's probe of Quebec construction giant SNC Lavalin by pressuring former Attorney General Jody Wilson-Raybould to consider a deferred prosecution agreement. 3. The blackface scandal. Wearing brown-face makeup back at his time at the West Point Grey Academy as a teacher.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
And maybe most disgraceful of all, the eating of a chocolate bar in the House of Commons.
Indeed, Mr. Speaker, I apologize. It was a chocolate bar, but I apologize. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Unbelievable. On July 3rd, we and the Liberals announced a parting of ways and the federal government took control of the program.
Order.
Craig and Mark Kielburger, the brothers who co-founded the sprawling network of charitable and for-profit firms that are now grouped under the We movement umbrella. Craig Kielburger, We, in 1995 was a kid on a mission. He started the We Global brand.
Children in dangerous glass factories. Children in the sugarcane fields. Children physically and verbally abused. Children making the many products which we import into Canada and use every day without considering their source. Who will help the children if we don't?
They're neck deep in a growing political controversy. Initially, We charity members said that Trudeau and his family members were not paid for appearances at We events. It has been revealed that Trudeau family members have been paid for We Day appearances by We Charity when they were supposed to be paid by Me to We. That's a mouthful. Me to We, which is a for-profit sibling organization of We. Trudeau's mom Margaret was paid approximately $250,000 for speaking at 28 events, while his brother Alexander was paid $32,000 for speaking at 8 events. We founders, Craig Kielburger and his older brother Mark, appeared before the committee on Tuesday.
Never simply profit. Since its founding in 2008, 100% of profits from Me to We social enterprise have been donated to We charity or reinvested to grow the social mission. Every single penny.
The Kielbachers told the committee that this was done for liability reasons to protect the assets of We Charity. Michelle Douglas, former We Charity Board chair, stated that We's management failed to provide her with financial information in March when there were mass layoffs happening. Craig Kisselbacher later asked her to resign, which she did because she felt she couldn't do her job or discharge governance duties. I demanded that the executive team produce those financial records while on a phone call with them. The call was abruptly concluded.
This model is called a social enterprise. It is common in Europe, but in Canada, the Canadian Revenue Agency limits a charity's ability to operate a business model as a solution to solving social problems.
Documents shared with the Commons Finance Committee on Monday show only up to $500 million could have paid out in the form of grants to students, while $43.53 million would have been allocated to the We Charity Foundation for administering the program. A We Charity worker says he and his team were encouraged to prioritize the interests of corporations whose operations did not fit into the organization's ethical structure over that of its charity work.
It was do some partnership was dictated by what a corporation wanted to partner with us on.
So you're saying that you were serving the needs of the corporation rather than the needs of the community?
Certainly. And whenever we tried to, of course, do some due diligence as a team to check with an operational team or do some research, the pressure we got was in no uncertain terms was not to look into this and to just continue with developing an attractive proposal.
Youth Minister Bardish Chagger said that Employment and Social Development Canada recommended a third party administer the grant. Given the scope of the program and the urgent need to deliver this new program, and that the ESDC's recommendation was that the third party be We Charity. We Charity is the non-profit arm of We, which operates educational and social justice programs in Canada and internationally. Me to We is the organization's for-profit social enterprise. Conflicting ethical standards. Corporate companies that the employees said conflicted with the ethical standards of We included Boeing, which manufactures weapons and aircraft, Dow Chemical, and Canadian mining companies like Potash.
Derek Two Shot pretends to be smart by reading stuff straight from Google.
He wasn't even pretending to not be defending the Kielbachers' limes.
They act like cult leaders.
The guy on the right looks like Trudeau's long-lost brother.
I am so disappointed with our government.
The program was designed to give students who couldn't find summer jobs a chance to earn some dollars while volunteering in national service activities related to fighting the pandemic. In testimony in the House of Commons on July 16th, Gina Wilson, Chagger's senior associate deputy minister, said that in a partnership like the one it had with the charity, the government sets performance measures and audits the results but does not direct or dictate how the recipient will carry out the project. Finance Minister Bill Morneau is under scrutiny for not recusing himself from...
So why hasn't Bill Morneau been fired?
The charity violated loan covenants for 2 years in a row, failing to pay back millions in loans despite having the assets to do so. That amounted to just over $9 million, financial statements show.
We know that despite all of the obvious conflicts of interest, Justin Trudeau and Bill Morneau failed to recuse themselves from the cabinet decision to hand their friends almost $1 billion of taxpayers' money.
On July 13th, Trudeau apologized for not recusing himself from discussions about We because of his family's longtime involvement with them. Morneau also said, "Well, we hope you learned a lot today. And until next time, be careful with your money. It's dangerous."
Recently switched.
Water bottle.
Water out of
plastic.
Recently switched.
Water bottle.
So we needed to act quickly. And that is certainly part of the context, but I don't think it's the whole reason as to why I didn't recuse myself. Youth issues have been something that I've been deeply involved with all my career, and I care deeply about the idea of youth service and seeing young people be able to help in their communities with organizations across the country. So this proposal mattered to me, and I, instead of encouraging it along like some people say because it was somehow connected to my family, I actually slowed it down and pushed back on it to try and make sure that everything was done exactly right, because I knew there would be questions asked because of the links to the family. But in no way was this benefiting my mother or my brother to be creating a grant program for students to volunteer in their communities right across the country.
I appreciate that clarification as well. I'm curious, as a local MP, I get unsolicited proposals all the time for projects, usually in my own riding. Is this something that you find comes up with perhaps organizations that are bigger than the ones in my backyard that actually pitch unsolicited proposals to the Prime Minister's office for policy ideas or programs?
That does happen. It did not happen in this case that I received any unsolicited proposal directly, but that absolutely